welcome to the Superlight Podcast, by the way. What are you mixing? You got some new stuff.
I've come a long way here.
You have, directly from Israel to here, and you got some products for me, which
So I have some products for you. So listen, this is
brand new on the market.
This is a game changer in the category, right?
Mm-hmm.
The electrolytes category thank you. The electrolytes category in the US is about a $17 billion category.
Yeah.
$6 billion is in powders.
And a lot of it's not so great.
You have, liquid IVs of the world. It's $1 billion business. Can you believe that in the US?
Wow.
$1 billion business, 68% sugar.
Right.
They have a 0-calorie version now, which is great.
And really, sugar only matters if you're actually working out and everything. But
exactly.
people don't know that, and they're just
exactly.
Yeah.
And even you need to have the optimal amount of sugar to help with the electrolyte delivery.
Right.
You have other brands like LMNT. LMNT is also significant business, very high levels of sodium.
Mm-hmm.
So these businesses have all been very successful, and kudos to the people that have built these businesses. But we looked at the market and we saw a significant opportunity to really bring the next generation of hydration solutions to the marketplace, anchored in our technology.
Right.
And this was basically the opportunity to bring a hydration solution which is powered by your circulation,
right,
powered by your blood flow.
Right.
And we all know in the human body, what's most critical for us is literally fluids, i.e. hydration, and blood flow.
And blood flow, yeah.
Right, blood flow is the most critical part of our body's overall operating mechanism.
Yeah.
So basically, we're now bringing this 2-in-1 solution. Mm-hmm. And it's really unique because ultimately we have the baseline, which is all the electrolytes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, inside the electrolytes, not just electrolytes, we have sea salt is our source of sodium. Mm-hmm. So high quality sea salt, all naturally sourced.
Yep.
The potassium is coconut water.
Nice.
Very few brands are doing that. That's very expensive, ingredient component.
Yeah.
And the magnesium is marine magnesium. So you've got 3 critical naturally sourced.
So that alone is already setting you above.
But for us, this is just the baseline, right? And then we add in the booster, which is blood flow. The blood flow booster, which is 400 milligrams of red grape cell powder, which is what you see here, the equivalent of 1 capsule of Vinia. And as the king of blood flow in America, which we are today with more than 75,000 active customers.
But your resveratrol is not the same.
Correct. So are we going to drink this or not?
Yeah. Well,
so unlike human beings, resveratrol is not created equal.
Right.
And we produce, and we're the only company in the world that actually produces Piceid resveratrol. Say that, Darin.
Piceid.
That's it. Piceid resveratrol. Not many people can say it because literally we're the only people that have to say it because
not only can't they say it, they've never heard of it before.
Right.
Because they just say resveratrol, and then the studies also aren't matching a bunch of claims.
Correct.
But the Piceid is different.
Correct. And what's unique about Piceid resveratrol is that it's the gold standard. It's the Rolls Royce. Look at that beautiful red grape powder. Look at that. Look at that color.
Yeah.
That's the red grape powder with the Piceid resveratrol inside.
I'm drooling already, and my veins and my circulation wants what you have right now.
And this is the blood flow booster, right? Because our Piceid resveratrol,
backed in real science.
It's the gold standard.
Yeah.
We'll get there in a second. I want to talk about Piceid first.
Okay.
But our Piceid resveratrol is the gold standard. It's the Rolls Royce of resveratrol.
Right.
It's 25 times more soluble, water soluble than regular resveratrol.
25
times. And solubility is king when it comes to supplementation.
Right.
And then from a bioavailability perspective, we've done clinical validations of the bioavailability, and we know that our Piceid resveratrol inside our red grape cell powder lasts in the body for at least 12 hours Darin with a peak after 1 hour and a peak after 5 hours. Regular resveratrol from polygonum, Japanese knotweed, or synthetic is in and out the body in 3 to 4 hours. And importantly, it takes only 20 minutes to be solubilized in the intestinal tract and then to literally pass through the membrane into your blood plasma. So it works really, really quickly. Now, we are the only company in the world that can produce piceid resveratrol from the red grape together with all the other polyphenols, which are found from the red grape, which is catechin, quercetin, anthocyanins, and tannins.
So it's all intact.
It's all working together like a symphony orchestra.
Which is nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The power of the plant kingdom. That goes back to the technology that we utilize to produce this unique material, which is a technology that we spent 17 years pioneering. Some of the best, if not I would say the best PhD plant cell biologists in the world. $100 million of investment. And today, as a company, BioHarvest Sciences, the producers of Vinia, which is one of our life-changing compounds from plants.
And this has the piceid in it.
This is the piceid, right?
Exactly.
Vinia is the brand that we have the piceid. But when we look at it as a company, this is developed based on our botanical synthesis technology, where we as a company over the last 17 years have developed a technology which has allowed us to be what we understand to be the largest manufacturers of plant cells in the world, producing in the largest plant cell manufacturing facility in the world. And one day I'm hoping that you'll come and visit us in the facility. You've seen a few videos. We're very careful on who we show those videos to because there's so much know-how and IP. But importantly, where we grow cells of the plant, not the plant. Because what the technology does is that the technology allows us to actually grow just the cell of the plant. So we took the red grape, literally 2013. We took the red grape, a really good red grape, and we took cells from the red grape, from the skin, from the actual tissue, and from the seed. Because this is all the areas where the critical phytonutrients, the polyphenols, the piceid resveratrol actually gets produced. And we took those cells and we literally did thousands of experiments in a petri dish, right? Today we do it with more advanced with AI. But ultimately what we did is we did these thousands of experiments where we changed the food we feed the cells. We changed the lighting, the temperature, and a bunch of other variables that even if you tie me up, I can't talk about on this program.
Yeah.
And at this stage, we get the cells to do two things. One, we get the cells to produce the exact same mirror of the phytonutrients that the plant produces. And two, we focus on a hero molecule. In our case, it was the piceid resveratrol. Say it again.
Piceid.
Amazing. It was the piceid resveratrol that we increase by an order of magnitude. And we figured out how to increase the piceid resveratrol by more than 100 times versus what's found in the red grape. And then we lock the cell bank and we never go back to the plant again. And importantly, everything that we're doing is non-GMO. We do not in any way change the RNA, DNA, the molecular structure. All we're doing is we're creating an environment for the cells, the really important cells, to be able to produce what we want them to produce and in the way that we want them to produce, i.e. the magnification. And we lock the cell bank, and then we had to figure out, and this is the really hard part. So we've mirrored and we've magnified. Okay, we mirrored the polyphenols, we magnified the piceid. But then the really tough part actually happens. And this is the part that today no other company has figured out. And we, with the most zealous, conscientious, I would say, somewhat crazy PhD plant cell biologists that have, all females by the way, have had the sheer determination to literally climb Mount Everest and back. They have broken biological barriers, and we figured out how to get a cell from a petri dish and how to toughen up that cell to grow in a large industrial scale bioreactor in liquid media and produce and elicit all of these phytonutrients. And the human insight, or I would say scientific insight here, and it's amazing when you think about the total plant kingdom and how we are interrelated as human beings with the plant kingdom.
Get that a little closer.
The key insight that we realized is that plant cells are like human cells. They have memories. And we figured out a way to train the cells, to almost toughen the cells up, strengthen them to go from a petri dish in solid media, where they're nice, warm, and cozy, to then be able to grow in industrial scale bioreactors, 1,200 liters in liquid media with shear forces, and they grow and they multiply over an 18 to 21 day period. We watch the growth of the cells. We catch them at the perfect moment as they've produced these critical phytonutrients, the piceid resveratrol and the other polyphenols. We harvest the cells. We're left with a rich mud of cells that we simply dry those cells. And importantly, Darin, there's no insecticides, there's no herbicides, there's no fungicides. I'm not dealing with heavy metals because I grow these cells in aseptic bioreactors. Right. And there's no solvents because we're simply drying the red grape cell powder so that in one capsule of Vinia, a red grape cell blood flow superfood, we have the same amount of piceid resveratrol. Say it again.
Piceid.
Getting better. Of piceid resveratrol as 1,000 red grapes.
Wow.
1,000 red grapes. Obviously no sugar, no calories.
Right.
And in the case of alcohol, wine, it's equivalent of one bottle of red wine without the sugar, the calories, and the alcohol. And this is what's built this brand to become today the number one resveratrol only brand on Amazon. Because we are the king of blood flow. Right. And we're a science-based company. And we've done multiple clinical trials, double-blind placebo, published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. And the key clinical trial that we reference in our communication to consumers is a clinical trial which demonstrated that after taking one of these capsules every day for 90 days, we were able to significantly increase the arterial dilation of all those people that took this capsule every single day. And as you know, arterial dilation is so critical because the more arterial dilation, you have more blood flow. And blood flow, and it's amazing to see in the longevity world, in the last 3 to 4 years, all the longevity geniuses out there have started to actually go back to the basics and have started to realize that blood flow is the most critical part of our body's operating mechanism, because between the ages of 30 and 70, your arterial dilation of
goes down.
It reduces about 65%. And did you know, Darin, you have 60,000 miles in our human bodies. We have 60,000 miles of arteries, veins, and capillaries.
Seems kind of important that we have that flow.
Exactly. And if you think about the city of LA, you want to make sure that your arteries, veins, and capillaries are operating like 5-lane highways that you have here, right?
You don't want 405 traffic.
Exactly. And you don't want it to be like a little mountain road, right? Because the more blood flow, the more oxygen. And our bodies crave and thrive and live on oxygen. The more oxygen, the more nutrients being delivered to your body, tissue, cells, and organs, and that gives you more physical energy. People don't understand. If you don't have good blood flow, your energy is going to be down, right? More blood flow, more physical energy, more blood flow to the brain. Think about this. The brain, it's 2% of our body mass. It utilizes between 15 to 20% of our blood flow and the oxygen in the body. So with Vinia, our red grape cell, our Pisceid resveratrol is able to get below the blood-brain barrier. And I'm sure many people in your audience understand what the blood-brain barrier is. But for those of them that don't, whether you believe in God or you believe in, evolution, we have a barrier around our brain which protects
us.
Our CPU, the most critical part of our, of our operating system from a hardware perspective, let's call it. And we're able to penetrate below. The Pisceid resveratrol is able to penetrate below, increasing blood flow to the brain, more oxygen, removal of cellular toxins, and all of a sudden, goodbye brain fog. You have more mental alertness. So the power of blood flow in delivering what I call today the new Maslow's hierarchy, right? Physical energy and mental alertness. I mean, you think about it. Who today, you and I, we lead busy lives. Everybody that we interact with, who doesn't need more physical energy and mental alertness? And that's what the power of blood flow, what Vinia delivers to our consumers. And today we have more than 75,000 active customers on Vinia.
Wow. It's incredible. I mean, the thing that was so astonishing is seeing what BioHarvest is doing. Because, I spent good part of 15 years running around the world trying to find botanicals and things that have compounds in them to help people. But there's a limit to that. And the thing that I saw in the supplement world was that they market the idea of what is in a product or in a compound or in a plant, but then it never really makes it to the finished product or the supplement. So you're living on a PR campaign as opposed to the real active, powerful ingredients. And so when I saw what you guys were doing with these bioreactors and at scale, you're taking nature and you're proliferating nature.
We're really, at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're unlocking the treasure that exists inside nature. And, we have today 500,000 plants out there.
Yeah.
And we're just, specifically in the last 100, 120 years, we've just been abusing nature.
Yeah.
And, literally in 30, 40 years' time, if it continues like this, 50% of the plants that are so critical for our health and wellness, they're going to be gone. 10 billion population, you can see that movie. So our company's North Star is all about discovering, developing, manufacturing, and democratizing life-changing compounds from plants that are going to positively affect the health and wellness of hundreds of millions of people in a way that preserves the planet for generations to come, because our sustainability credentials are unique. We utilize a micro fraction of the land, a micro fraction of the water and the energy. And today, what's really interesting is if you go back 70, 80 years, the first pharmaceutical drugs were all anchored and based and derived from the plant kingdom. And then Pharma started to realize it's too difficult. It's too challenging dealing with plants for 3 reasons. And our technology has overcome each of these 3 barriers. Barrier number 1 was consistency. Of course, in pharmaceutical world, you need unique levels of consistency. Plants grow in an ecosystem.
Right.
The more sunshine, the more water.
Up and down.
It's a different polyphenol combination.
Yeah.
2, it's so interesting that when you look at the phytonutrients or phytomedicinal compounds that are really critical for the effective functioning of our overall bodies, they're found in such tiny levels inside the plant. And therefore, you have to grow, thousands and thousands of hectares of plants for it to be economically viable. So Pharma turned around and said, you know what, it's too difficult. We're just going to synthesize one component, the key molecule. We'll synthesize in a laboratory. We'll get the consistency. We'll get the economics right, because I'm just paying for the synthesization inside a laboratory. It's very different to growing thousands of hectares of a plant. And importantly, we'll get the patents, because patents are king for the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
Our and by the way, you can't generally patent nature. It's really hard to patent nature, right? Now, our technology, botanical synthesis, which is how we make our Vinia red grape cell blood flow superfood, better blood flow superfood, our technology allows us to address every one of these three problems. In our bioreactors, in a controlled environment, we're able to produce with unique consistency. We have economic viability because we figured out how to change the variables to magnify by an order of magnitude the most critical molecules, but still keep the mirroring effect, synergistic effect. And because of what we do, we have patents.
Yeah.
So today, I sit here in front of, what I would say, given your reputation, is the king of superfoods. One of the key, legacy originators of the superfood concept. I come as an ambassador of 500,000 plants that are saying to industry, that are saying to the population out there, enough abuse.
Yeah.
We want use. We understand what's inside.
Yeah.
The treasure that's inside each and every single plant. Today, there are technologies that exist like BioHarvest Sciences and what we do every single day with botanical synthesis, which allows us to use in a way that makes sense for industry to be the bridge between the plant kingdom and industry, whether it's pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, cosmetics, or nutrition, to be that bridge between the plant kingdom and the giants of industry by being able to develop and produce at scale life-changing compounds consistently with economic viability and with patents in a sustainable way. So we're addressing and answering what the plants are looking for, the protection that the plant kingdom wants, all the way through to what industry now needs to start delivering. Because at the end of the day, with a population 2050 of $10 billion, we can't survive the way we've been surviving the last 100 years. It's technologies like ours. And there needs to be another 100 companies like us, because we can't do every plant out there, which really has to change how people leverage the power of the plant kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, you've done so many things to be that bridge with the science, with the scale, and understanding the plant, and then really harvesting nature and exciting nature to produce these compounds, which nature does, but you can't do it at scale. And that's the exciting thing. But you're also able to look at other compounds. You're not just, this is your flagship.
Yeah, this is our flagship. And Vinia for us really has been a validation of the power of the technology. Right? Just seeing how blood flow, improving people's blood flow through arterial dilation increases, significant increases, is able to change their lives, whether it's physical energy, mental alertness, whether it's, supporting healthy blood pressure, whether it's reducing oxidative damage to your cells, whether it's reducing oxidation of LDL cholesterol. This is all what our clinical trial, have been able to demonstrate.
I mean, the fact that the company, you're doing everything right in a sense, because, so many people, they want a compound to do something and rush to the market. And then again, they live on the PR of it, not the actual science. And the fact that you've raised hundreds of millions of dollars, done the clinical substantiation, but also more importantly, you've created these bioreactors to be able to scale to the point where pharmaceutical can use them, and this can make an improvement in people's lives. We're at that point where science needs to meet nature, and then we have to scale it.
Yeah, right now on our manufacturing facility, I have 137 bioreactors. That's a lot of bioreactors on the floor. Each of those bioreactors, in the last 12 months, we've digitized our facility. So we're now leveraging the power of digitization, AI. We're now able to understand and capture and measure to the cloud every single biological metric of every single bioreactor at a point of time.
So every bioreactor has got a lot of
There are
compounds.
critical, ultimately what we're doing is we know that the cell has a growth curve.
Mm-hmm.
And the cells are multiplying, and basically as they're multiplying, they're growing. And we've got to make sure that they're growing on the right logarithmic cell curve.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to make sure that we catch them at the right point where their piceid resveratrol and polyphenol levels are at the maximum.
How do you lock that in then?
So, again, it's deep science.
Yeah.
It's where science and biology and technology all meet together. I call it basically deep science. And, with the experience that we have, we understand exactly what that optimal curve looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're constantly managing every single bioreactor and measuring to see if the cells are on the right curve. And when they're not, we have some significant experience to know what to do to those cells to help them get back on the curve. Right? Ultimately, what we're trying to do in every single bioreactor, and normally the process takes 18 to 21 days for the cells to multiply and grow. From every single bioreactor, we get about 14 to 15 kilograms. I'll translate in the US times 2.2, it's about 30 pounds, 32 pounds of material, finished material. And, basically.
And it would take nature years and years.
It's a couple of years at least, right? And importantly, we have a facility today, our first facility, we're about to build our second facility, but our first facility is 10,000 square feet. Now that facility can produce the same amount of piceid resveratrol as the entire island of Manhattan if you had grapevines.
Wow.
Right. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's the power of deep science and the convergence of deep science and biology and technology.
But you're also using nature. You're understanding how to, because I think of stem cells too, right? So I was just talking to a stem cell guy. So the best stem cells are when you take them from yourself.
Yep.
And then they have their own bioreactor and you proliferate them and then use them back into your body.
Right.
It's the same here. So you're understanding nature and allowing nature to do her thing and then just controlling the environment because the environment is everything.
I'm just helping nature down a path. Right. That basically allows much more efficiency. So ultimately, nature is not abused. And we're leveraging the power of nature ultimately to be able to develop these life-changing compounds that can positively affect the health and wellness of hundreds of millions of people.
So when people take you don't necessarily feel blood flow. If I've taken this and I love it, but people also get this idea that I have to feel it. But also your science supports what you're doing. So I always say, do you notice an apple when you eat it? Right? It's good for you.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you talk to people about why would this be better than something that they can buy on Amazon? And what do they expect to feel over a period of time?
That's a great question. So firstly, we talked a little bit earlier about solubility.
Yeah.
The solubility is 25 times more soluble
And that's
than regular resveratrol.
clinically substantiated.
82%. So that's literature.
Yep.
It's literature.
Yep.
Piceid resveratrol is 25 times more water soluble than regular resveratrol.
Period.
Literature, fact,
Yep.
no arguments about it.
Yep.
From a bioavailability perspective, we have clinical bioavailability study, human beings, on basically demonstrating we last in the body for at least 12 hours, and I believe we last longer. We just didn't check longer than that 12-hour time point, and we regret it. But the next time round, we will check to see if it goes longer. But definitely, you got 12 hours, you got to peak after 1, you got to peak after 5. 20 minutes, it's in the plasma, and what lands up happening, the mechanism, as we say, the mechanism of action is just, in a way, genius, if you think about it, and you think about the workings of the human body. So we talked before about 60,000 miles of arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arterial health is all about well-being. Your well-being is totally anchored in your arterial health. And lining your arteries, your veins and capillaries are endothelial cells. Okay. And we're talking about billions of endothelial cells. What happens with Vinia and our Piceid resveratrol? We get straight into the blood plasma in the most localized part of the body, which is the most critical part of the body, and almost like we train the endothelial cells that line all our 60,000 miles of arteries, veins, and capillaries to produce more of one critical substance that I'm sure everybody listening here have heard about, and that's nitric oxide. It's not doing it through the mouth, right? And converting, basically sulfur, driving the conversion of nitrate into nitric oxide, in the mouth, which is not localized, which is a lot of, let's call it root-based supplements that produce nitric oxide. They do it starting in the mouth, and by the time it goes into the blood plasma, the solubility has eroded significantly. We do it where it matters, in the plasma, right where the endothelial cells are, and we get the endothelial cells to produce more nitric oxide. And as you know, nitric oxide is the most critical vasodilator for the human body. And as we age, starts at the age of 25, the amount of nitric oxide starts to get reduced significantly. It's about a 70% reduction from 20 to 70. But what's unique about this product and the power of Piceid resveratrol with all the other polyphenols is we have a double mechanism of action. Those endothelial cells, they're a bit fickle. They produce good stuff, which is nitric oxide, albeit it declines over age. They also produce some stuff that we call the bad stuff, and that's ET1, endothelial 1. ET1 is a vasoconstrictor. It hardens your arteries. And as you get older, they start to produce more ET1. So what Vinia does, and we've demonstrated this in vitro studies, Vinia has been able to demonstrate the ability to significantly increase the nitric oxide. We showed an increase in nitric oxides in vitro at 120% increase, and reduce the ET1, the vasoconstrictor, by 50%. So it's a double mechanism of action.
So not only is it flowing better, it's
the arterial dilation, the elasticity, right? Because you're basically the compound, i.e. nitric oxide molecule that increases the dilation you're producing more of, and you're reducing the endothelial cells production of ET1, right? Which is a vasoconstrictor. And with this increase in blood flow, all of those benefits of physical energy, mental alertness, Darin, you feel it. You feel it. People feel that Vinia difference, right? They feel it. Some people will feel it after a week. Some people, depending on your genetics, depending on your fitness levels. For example, athletes, we know they have higher VO2 max. It takes a little bit longer, right? It can take 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. That's why we always tell our consumers 3 months. 3 months is the period you should be on the product to really get the maximum impact, but you feel it. You feel more physical energy. No more sleepiness in the afternoons, right? You're waking up with mental alertness. No more brain fog. I was one of those people before I came to the company, and you know my story on how I came to the company initially as an investor, right? From a background in fast-moving consumer goods and high tech. But when I started on this product, I was one of those guys that literally my brain didn't function until 11 o'clock and 5 cups of coffee, right? Literally, maybe 4 to 5 cups of coffee. But now I have the opposite problem. I wake up and we've exchanged SMSs with the time difference between LA and Israel. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll go to the bathroom and I'm on. My brain is working. It's functioning. So, I'm getting up in the morning and I'm able to function. That mental alertness, it's a game changer. And then obviously you have those elements that you're not feeling, which are so critical, right? Which is reducing oxidation of LDL cholesterol. And we understand how important that is. When there's LDL cholesterol buildup, you don't want that LDL cholesterol to oxidize, right? And then you have basically everything that polyphenols do around reducing oxidative damage to your cells and fighting the free radicals, right?
Which is always increasing as we age.
And then basically helping to support healthy blood pressure. These are the key elements. And then ultimately you start to see many other benefits, which are all related to blood flow, because this is what we're doing. We're just increasing blood flow. And you have more blood flow, basically to the epidermis layer of the skin. Guess what? Better skin health.
Yeah.
It's all about blood flow is the carrier of oxygen, and oxygen is the source of life. Yeah. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the longer you stay on it, the more it goes from hierarchy of needs and it continues to go.
And that's why we have a business which is 90% subscription on our website, Vinia.com. It's 90% subscription. And we have, I believe, when benchmarking versus other supplements out there, some of the leading supplements, we have, I believe, one of the lowest churn rates. Because once you're on the product, you stay on the product.
Yeah. So not only are you feeling it, but it's it's backed in real science, and
I mean, the science is heavy. We started with in vitro. Yeah. Then we did animal trials, right? And then we did human clinical trials. And we have a number of different trials that we did from a clinical perspective.
I mean, you can name on one hand how many nutritional companies have actually done human clinical trials. I
think, correct. Within the industry, you have literally, you can count them on your hand, correct? Yeah. And we continue to invest, in the science because we're a science-based company. And that's really important validation for the consumer.
I mean, it's so exciting. I mean, me and other colleagues looked at your company and was just like, oh my God. I mean, Dr. Barbara was like, this is what I've always wanted someone to do. Because you see the power in nature, you see the power in necessary compounds for the body. And in order for us to scale something, we don't have the land mass. We have all those issues, environmental issues, and pesticides and herbicides and things in the air and things in the water. And it's almost impossible today to control those variables.
And we're one of those few companies, I think you can count them on a couple of fingers, that actually control the entire process from cell all the way through to capsule.
It's huge.
Right? And for me, look, I will tell you straight out, the last 6 years have been probably the most challenging 6 years of my professional career. I've probably worked harder than I've ever worked before, even though I told my wife it was going to be a period that I was going to be, a little bit more accessible. But all of us at BioHarvest, we're on a mission. We're on a mission to develop life-changing compounds from the plant kingdom and unlock the treasure that exists in the plant kingdom. And what keeps me going every single day, just given the hours that we work, is customer reviews. I get in my inbox as CEO of the company, every single review that comes in. Every review I read, right? That's normally what I do when I get into bed.
Wow.
I file them away, comes into my inbox, and I sit in bed and I read the reviews.
Wow.
And every day I'm probably getting anywhere from 20 to 40 reviews. Today we have more than 10,100 verified reviews with a 4.7 out of 5 rating.
Wow.
And it's those reviews, when you see how it changes people's lives, right? That literally gives me the strength to get up in the morning and to continue with my team, to power through and to continue to climb Mount Everest again and deal with challenges that we have from a biology perspective. And it happens periodically as we scale more, you hit challenges.
Sure.
And we have an amazing team of PhD plant cell biologists that work. They've been, all of our biologists have been with us for more than 15 years, right? So like there's, deep know-how, and we work through and we figure out these problems. But it's kind of like it's a interesting cycle that we have here, the cycle of life, in the context of it's the feedback that we get from consumers on how the product's changing their lives, how it's changing people's lives from giving them more of that physical energy, more mental alertness to do more in life, to get more out of their lives. Whether it's, somebody who's a little bit older in their life cycle and has to all of a sudden, deal with grandchildren and having the physical energy, or people that are looking for vascularity in the gym and want to go that extra 5, 10, 15 minutes on a treadmill. Now they've got the energy to do it. Or it's people that are just exhausted mentally, and all of a sudden their brain's functioning on a different level because they're so much more mentally alert, and on and on and on. And almost so that we started to see from first responders, amazing results. Firefighters started to send us communication to say, listen, this product's amazing. 2:00 in the morning, we're sleeping fast asleep. The bell rings. I got to move. And every move counts in saving people's lives. And your product keeps me alert, keeps me focused, right? And I've got the physical energy now to keep on going longer. All the way through to, I remember receiving an amazing review from a lady in I would say rural Ohio that was managing a triage center, emergency center, and saying what Vinia does, keeping her on her toes, giving her the energy, making decisions on you go here, you go there, in a triage center that was basically covering just a massive, geographical area, and so busy. And so when we saw all these benefits we were giving first line responders and veterans as well, many veterans, we decided to give these people a very unique benefit of 20% discount for life on our products in the context of our commitment to give back to the community. So, we have the ability to really influence the lives of everyday people, right? From, people just trying to get more out of the 24 hours that they're living and dealing with the challenges of a very turbulent life, all the way through to really impacting those people that care for us every single day in the community. And that's what's the best part of our jobs, to be able to actually see that firsthand, because with Vinia, you feel it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's more important to life than to help people. And the fact that you're taking the time to hear directly from them is the fuel that keeps you going. And
it definitely is my source of strength.
Well, it's like especially from your background, you were doing stuff and you function high and you're doing things, but those companies weren't lined up in the same way that can help populations and help people from elderly to athletes to everything else. That's what...
You're 100% right. Look, my experience in fast-moving consumer goods, running significant businesses around the world, and then moving into the high-tech world, and kind of, rebirthing myself and reinventing myself into high-tech, it prepared me so well for this challenge. Everything, I'm obviously deeply spiritual. I really feel that like God had a plan for me. And, the plan was 18 years running around the world for a multinational, running businesses in the fast moving consumer goods. And then, 6 years as an entrepreneur, starting a business with 2 co-founders that we sold to a major fast moving consumer goods in the technology space. Those skills really prepared me to be able to help this company, because when I came to the company as an investor, and it was actually Darin, it was like pretty much to the day, 6 years ago, I came to the company as an investor, and I was like, I'll keep my language appropriate on this podcast, but I was like, holy macaroni.
Yeah.
I'm like, this company's unbelievable. This technology, it's almost like I found a gold mine of R&D. At that time, it was like 13 years. They had figured out how to scale the technology, not to the level today, but at least gone to one scaling point. They just completed the clinical trials, multiple clinical trials. They just published one trial at the American, they presented, I should say, one trial at the American Diabetes Association, right? At the New Orleans conference. The regulatory path work had been done. The IP was really well thought through. And, you know, I don't come from money, you know, just being an immigrant, classic immigrant story. And, you know, everything I have on my, you know, that I'm wearing, you know, I've worked for and I value. And so whether I put $5,000 or $50,000 or more, it's the same diligence that I do on a company. And I drove them crazy. I drove them crazy because that's who I am, right? I think you're getting to know me and you understand the nature of the beast that you're dealing with, right? Going deeper, 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 trying to catch them out. Yeah. And every time I thought I had the scientists in a corner, based on my experience, they came out like with boxing gloves. And they came out shining.
They
and I was
validate everything.
What, exactly. Everything was validated. Everything. Literally. Okay. Like it was almost like, you know, being in an audit with the Ministry of Health in Israel, where they're coming in and they're asking, hey, here you go. Okay. And it was amazing. And I decided to invest in the company. And at the time, the CEO, who today is a great friend and my partner, that is the chairman of the company today and also is the president of our CDMO, Contract Development and Manufacturing Organization, he came to me and he said to me, listen, you drove us crazy during the diligence process. And I'm like, I'm deeply sorry. It's just the nature of the beast. I hope it wasn't disrespectful. He says, no, it wasn't disrespectful at all, but you drove us crazy. But I realized through this process, I need a professional CEO to be able to unlock this gold mine in a way and to be able to mine the gold. And I think you could be the right guy for this. I want you to seriously think about coming on board as the CEO. And it was like somebody had punched me, you know, in the face because I just didn't see it coming.
Right.
And I went away and I spoke to my wife and had, you know, probably 2 or 3 weeks of conversations. And I realized that I had a chance here to lead a movement of change in the world. I had a chance here to be able to really positively impact the lives together with the team, an amazing team around me already, quality people, commitment like you can't believe, to develop life-changing compounds from a health and wellness perspective and to be able to unlock the treasure that exists in the plant kingdom. And very quickly, I seized the opportunity. I will tell you, it's been probably the best 5.5 years of my professional career and my personal life because I work damn hard, but I'm so happy doing what I do, working with the people that I work with. Such amazing scientists. Just blow your mind every single day the way these people just figure things out. And 75,000 customers, and of which the large proportion of those are subscription. And we've been a business, as you know, that's been hand to mouth from a supply chain perspective. Because as we produce, the demand builds. And then we got to go and produce more. And it's just scaling that business. And now I'm really glad to say that a couple of weeks ago, we're a NASDAQ listed company today. And a couple of weeks ago, we raised a significant amount of money to build a second facility, which is going to be a 100-ton facility.
Wow.
Right? And again, my dream, and this is what's amazing about the technology, but my dream is to have a facility literally in every major country in the world. And we can do that because when you look at our technology and the way the technology is built, and you know, you've kind of had an eye into the facility when we've done a number of the tours over Zoom. But when you understand that we built a 25-ton facility for $5 million US, right? That's not a lot of capital for a 25-ton facility that ultimately, from an investment perspective, can generate $60 to $70 million of revenue a year. And the biggest challenge in biomanufacturing today, whether it's with biologics or just generally with biomanufacturing, is that it's not replicable. It's not scalable because it's like $150 million of capital, and it takes a long time to get that return. What's unique and the brilliance of Dr. Yochi Chagai, who's the co-founder of the company, and she's the mother of the technology, the brilliance of what the system that she built is that we can scale it for really capital levels that are like, in a way, software economics in biotech, which is unique. Wow. And that's what excites me, because we can really amplify and scale these life-changing compounds and drive. The most important word in our North Star of the company is democratization. Democratization, the power of the plant kingdom.
Yeah, that's huge. And with Vinia flying and the new hydration, and what else are you excited about? Are you looking into?
Yeah, I've got something. I want to show you something. Actually, I'm just gonna jump from my chair now, because I brought something to show you.
You did. You got some.
I always got some good stuff.
You got some other secrets.
The next life-changing compound.
Well, I'll wait for the life-changing compound for sure. I traveled thousands and thousands of miles to find compounds, and the fact that you're just bringing it to me, and I don't have to be on a train or a donkey or a water buffalo. By the way, I've ridden a water buffalo in the Philippines and survived it. This is much easier. So,
with Vinia, it's almost the best way to talk about it is if you look at like the blue oceans, right? I'm going to say that again, okay? Just for cutting, all right? So with Vinia, I want to kind of reference a little bit at the blue zones.
Yeah.
And Vinia is really the power of the French paradox to the next level. And the French paradox. The French people, they have very fatty diet, lots of pate, lots of lipids, but they have amazing cardiovascular health. What was it that's giving them this amazing cardiovascular health?
It's got to be the olives.
It's the moderate consumption of red wine. I'll get to the olives in a second.
Okay.
It's the moderate consumption of red wine, which is 2 to 3 glasses of red wine every day. And when the scientists looked to see what it was inside the red wine, they realized it was this magical molecule called piceid resveratrol. Say it again.
Piceid.
Better. Piceid resveratrol, together with all the other polyphenols, catechin, quercetin, anthocyanin, and tannins. And off we went and basically leveraged that knowledge base that consumers have on the French paradox, because a lot of consumers understand the power of the red grape and the power of red wine and cardiovascular health. And that's what we're bringing them in the context of Vinia.
Without the poison of the alcohol.
Right, exactly. Right. And obviously in a much more magnified level, because we magnify the levels of the piceid, right? So now what's next for us in our direct-to-consumer business is, going back to the blue zones, is the power of the Mediterranean diet is anchored as well in the olive. Right? And we have, just like today, in the case of our red grape cell blood flow super food product, where we are the only company that can produce piceid resveratrol at commercial industrial scale because of the magnification 100 times. We took an olive, and there's a very unique polyphenol antioxidant in the olive called Forbascoside. Say that? Forbascoside.
Forbascoside.
Okay. It's also a glycoside, so it has amazing solubility. Okay. And today in our olive cells, and here we have, I have some of our olive cells, okay, which we now are producing at large scale. We're just working through the regulatory path and working through the clinical path. We today produce Forbascoside at the highest levels in the world. Forbascoside is a very potent anti-inflammatory polyphenol from the olive. Inside every 100 milligrams of this material, smells good, it's the same as 2 liters of olive oil from a Forbascoside perspective.
Really?
Yeah. I don't suggest you drink 2 liters of olive oil, but
I
literally
don't
100
plan on it.
milligrams of Forbascoside is equivalent to 2 liters of olive oil. So this material, now, we did some initial in vitro research, and we demonstrated on human liver cells the ability to significantly reduce the fat levels.
Wow.
And if you think about it, United States of America today, and I see it just by me being in all the airports, and you look at people, and I do my own kind of research, you have 100 million people today that are dealing with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Yeah.
So the opportunity of going after that liver health space is significant.
Mm-hmm.
So this is next in line for us, which we will look to bring this to the market towards the end of next year.
Amazing.
And then what we decided to do as a company 2 years ago, once we developed the platform technology, we decided that, and it was kind of driven by, in the last 4 years, every month I'd get a call from a major company saying, we know what you've done on Vinia. Can you do the same thing to this plant or this plant or this plant? And I became known as the no guy. And I'd say, yes, I can do it, but no, I'm not doing it for you. Now, the no, I was not doing it for you wasn't because I didn't want to do it. That's what drives me. But it was because we weren't ready yet, because we hadn't got to the scale that I felt that we needed to be at in order to open our technology to the industrial giants out there, the giants of industry. 18 months ago, we got to a level that we felt was real scale. And we opened up a contract development and manufacturing organization. And it's actually, a research and development and manufacturing organization, because we're doing a lot of R&D. And this allowed us to unlock the power of our technology to solve major problems that giants of industry today are having in the pharmaceutical world, in the nutraceutical world, in the fragrance world, and the nutrition world, cosmetic world as well. And today we have 4 major contracts. And I want to talk a little bit about 2 of the contracts. And these are companies that I can name, the compounds I can name, because a lot that we have is under NDA. And so you'd have to tie me up and do a whole bunch of things for me to say anything, which I won't still. I've been well trained. But we announced a deal 3 weeks ago, and I'm so excited about this. Literally, I just want to scream from excitement, because the opportunities are just so significant, and that's Saffron. Okay, you got it. So we created a super resveratrol, right? The opportunity to create with a partner a super saffron. This, Darin, there's a lot of, I'm personally connected to this, and I'll touch on that in a second. But I think people understand that saffron today is the golden spice. It sells for about $10,000 a kilo.
Yeah.
Right? At retail. And 90% of saffron today comes from
India, no?
Iran.
Oh.
Major child labor issue related to when it flowers and picking the saffron. And when you actually go to clinicaltrials.gov, it's kind of crazy if you think about it. There are literally tens of really good clinical trials with significant clinical evidence around saffron's ability to have a significant impact on well-being as it relates to indications like Alzheimer's, okay? Indications like dementia, indications like ADD, ADHD, eye health, skin health. But the challenge has been no consistent supply,
Right.
not economically viable,
Right. Exactly.
right? And so no giant of industry out there has been, audacious enough bold enough to enter into the market with products which are anchored in the actives inside saffron, because you might have a product in the market today and not tomorrow because of the supply chain, right? So we have now partnered with a company called Saffron Tech. Saffron Tech is another Israeli-based company that have developed over the last 4 years amazing technology to grow saffron indoor. And they have the genetics of the plant with very high levels of the critical actives, which we will use as our starting point and put it through our system where we do the tissue culture work, we train the cells, the whole process that I took you through. And ultimately, we believe we can create a super saffron, and which can, have a significant and to be able to democratize. Now, I use the word democratize a lot, and people say, what do you mean by democratize? And I say to them, it's anchored in being able to make health and wellness affordable. And for Vinia, when we launched, I'll give you an example. For Vinia, when we launched in the US market in May 2021, 3-month subscription, recurring subscription was $99 for 3 months. You know what the price is today? Fast forward 5 years, 5.5 years, 4.5 years, nearly 5 years, $99 for 3 months.
Right.
Why have we done that?
Because you've stabilized supply.
One, we have a commitment to democratize. We're not an gouging company that's trying to drive margins, take prices up. Yes, our margins have improved significantly as a company. At the end of the day, we still have to, make a profit, and we're not there yet. We're working really hard to get to EBITDA profitability, and many of our shareholders are, there's a constant dialogue I'm having. But what was critical was $1 a day, roughly $1 a day. We have to democratize these life-changing compounds. Otherwise, in a way, we're defeating the whole purpose of what we're trying to do here, right? Because we're just going to make the elite healthy. Longevity is only going to be, the E in longevity is going to be for elite people, right? But we all have blood. Doesn't matter what religion, doesn't matter where we're born, we all have red blood, right? We all interface with the plant kingdom. So the plant kingdom has to serve everybody. So right now, the ability to democratize a super saffron and to make it affordable, right? So you look at, for example, ADD, ADHD, right? How many kids, I have one of them, who suffers from ADD, ADHD with all the different drugs out there, right? And the consequences of taking those drugs, right? From a hunger or lack of hunger perspective, to stunting growth, to mood change. You have saffron. The ability for saffron to positively impact the lives of young children, teenagers with ADD, ADHD, it's a game changer. So this is the compounds that we're really trying to drive with our technology.
Amazing.
So we are at 3:38, I believe.
Okay.
It is totally okay for you to go over. There's no client bookings or the last one of the day.
But we have to.
I do want to give you a heads up though, because I didn't realize you were going straight from 2 rather than 2:30. So you will probably be charged for the extra hour. Because extra 30 minutes, I believe.
Okay.
Since it was originally 2.
We can finish up in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll finish up in a
10, 15
minutes.
Okay, no problems. And then we'll come back to the product at the end. Let's go at the end. So the ability for us to create a super saffron and to be able to democratize it, working together with our partner, I'm so excited. Literally on Thursday, we get the saffron plant. Our scientists are starting to work on taking the cells from the critical parts of the plant where we know are the most important parts as it relates to the critical actives. And what's good about this time is normally we're deep in nature trying to find a plant, right? This time we have the plant on our doorstep. So it's a lot easier for us and we're going to move much faster. And I think we're going to see some really interesting results, coming out of this train over the next few months. And then the other life-changing compound I want to talk about is some work that we're doing with an amazing company called Tate and Lyle. I'm sure you've heard of Tate and Lyle.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably the biggest sweetener company in the world. Amazing company, amazing people, amazing commitment to sustainability, values that are totally congruent to ours. We forged a very strong partnership in December of last year when Tate and Lyle had spent a lot of resources going around the world trying to identify plants out there that nobody had spoken about. Nobody had gone and done any research. Plants that possessed sweet proteins. Because today we're dealing with the evil of sugar.
Yeah.
And stevia has made a small indent, but it's very challenged from a taste perspective. And there's like a ceiling that it's hit here in America.
Yeah.
And so Tate and Lyle literally scoured the world and they identified a number of plants out there that could be the next generation of non-nutritive natural sweetness. So they identified the plants, but they had nobody to unlock that potential until we met with them. And over like a 4-month period, they did very heavy diligence on us to understand our technology and our ability to magnify and multiply. And I'm very excited today to say we're working on some of these plants to develop the next generation of non-nutritive natural sweetness. Now think about that, Darin. We've talked about saffron in the context of, let's call it cognitive age decline, that is the biggest fear of every human being, right? All the way through now to dealing with the evils of sugar. And you look at the perils of sugar and what it's done to the American health system, right? With, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and on and on and on, and the degrees of people challenged with those health and wellness real challenges. We're now spending our energy working on 2 compounds that are real life-changing compounds with a deep mission to be able to democratize them. Right. And I go back to where I started in this discussion. We have an opportunity to drive a movement of change, which is why meeting you was so important for me. And I'll personalize this in a moment because it's people like you that started these movements of change that really helped the consumer out there understand the gravity of industry versus the plant kingdom and trying to find that right balance. And that's why it was so important for us to start to collaborate and work together on this movement of change, because this is what we're trying to do. And every person that's on our Vinia or take our olive cells, these people are not just taking our products, they're coming on board actually as investors in our company, retail investors in our company. As a NASDAQ listed company, you can buy shares tomorrow on the market because they want to be part of a movement of change. And this is a movement of change. Ultimately, I'm blessed. I've been happily married for just on 27 years. Reminds me I've got an anniversary coming up. I better not forget it. My wife and I, we've been blessed with 3 kids. And as a father, I kind of step back and I really worry about this world. I worry about my children. I worry more deeply about my future grandchildren. Because 2050, 10 billion people, how are we going to feed ourselves? There's so many indications out there, right, that are still unresolved. We're destroying the plant kingdom. Kew Gardens, which is the Botanical Gardens, the London Botanical Gardens, published a report a couple of years ago that talked about like over the next 10 years, 50% of the plants that have medicinal value are going to be destroyed. Maybe it was 20 years, but in the near future. And so we have an opportunity with our technology to really drive a movement of change. And it's not just a company, it's a movement. It's people who want to protect the plant kingdom, to use the plant kingdom and not to abuse the plant kingdom. And this is the power of what we're doing. And this is this is ultimately the legacy that myself and my entire team want to leave for the world with our technology. And we're just lucky that Vinia for us has been that proof of concept, where all of these companies that we're working with today, they were like, wow, you did that. Wow, that's amazing. We love the science. We can see the scaling. We can see the consumer reaction to it. We want our own life-changing compound. What about if it was the next generation of natural non-nutritive sweetener? What about if it was, saffron? We're working on another compound in the fragrance world where you've got deforestation, and this particular plant tree species will be extinct in the next 20 to 30 years.
That's how a lot of change can happen in what you're doing. Well, we should drink.
I think we should drink to it with our new Vinia blood flow hydration. So, this is the product. A couple of things before we drink. As we talked about earlier, this is the first product on the market which is delivering you everything you need in hydration, but it's powered by blood flow, right? Leveraging one capsule of our Vinia red grape powder in every single of our 6 flavors in the stick packs. We have 6 flavors. We have lemon lime, we have lemonade, we have summer orange, fruit punch, a berry, and a watermelon. Now, we realized that for this to scale, in the consumer world, taste is king.
Yeah.
And so we actually worked with one of the best formulators from the Coca-Cola company, an ex-Coca-Cola company employee, used his talents, right? And he was an amazing guy. His name's Lewis Hines. He works for a company called Bevnology. We've probably put more than 1,000 hours of R&D time in developing these flavor systems. Wow. It's got a very unique sweetness system as well. It's 25 calories, right? So it's not a lot of calories. 25 calories. There are literally 4 to 5 grams of sugar in this product, depending on what flavor, of which 2 of those 4 grams is from the coconut water, right? So it's good source of sugar, and the rest is organic. The other 2 grams is organic cane sugar, right? And you need to have a little bit of those sugars to be able to drive the absorption of the electrolytes in the body. Right. And so for us, we believe that we've now bringing to the market the unique system whereby we're able to optimize hydration by leveraging the power of blood flow. Because at the end of the day, the fluids and the electrolytes, they've got to get to all those 60,000 miles and get to all the cells in your body. And to do that, you need to have good blood flow. We have a 90-day money-back guarantee on this, not just on efficacy, but also on taste. So if you don't like the taste of this product, call up our customer service hotline. I'll give you back your money. No questions asked. That's how confident we are on the solution that we're bringing to the market. Okay. So let you be the master of the verdict of our taste.
Okay.
One sec. Let me.
Looks good. Smells good. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for the opportunity of appearing on your podcast.
You betcha. Oh, yeah. Wow, that's really good.
I told you, man. I told you.
That's really good.
No aftertaste.
It's getting the 60,000 miles rolling right now.
The sensory, taste is king.
Thank you, brother.
Sensory appeal. It's a pleasure. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about the movement of change and hopefully bringing many of the viewers out there on board as part of our movement of change.
Let's get it flowing.
As much help as we can get.
Get it flowing. Get that blood flowing. Thanks, brother.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.